It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be discussing a forum post titled "Your Anti-Camping System is a Joke." And I wanted to talk about it because I think it'd be quite entertaining for me to actually read up on this topic. I think that the anti-camp isn't a good spot as it is. I mean, as we understand, logically speaking, without the gaslighting from the DBD community, camping is simply there as an option for strategic use in order to gain an extra hook state when they are close to receiving an extra hook state. Now, this was already was nerfed by the base kit reassurance they added in for the survivor side, as it is for both hook states. They do have additional time being added, so it already nerfed a lot of low tiers as it was. So it's kind of interesting to me that people are attempting to cry about the anti-camp now. So let's go ahead and take a read. So it says, yesterday while playing a solo queue match, a killer camped with 5 gents and was relatively close to me. I entered the second phase and the anti-camp bar only filled halfway. I wondered, is this garbage the new anti-camp system? You should fix it, please. So right off the bat, we can read right off the beginning. It says, while playing solo queue. So what does that tell you? 1, it probably means you're in low MMR. 2, you're playing by yourself, so that means you have literally no teammates that you can communicate with, and therefore you're probably going to have bad teammates. Now, whose fault is it in this situation? Because keep in mind, right, they go, oh, it's a killer, right? Remember, they always say that a killer camped with blah 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 blah, but never do they say none of my like here, right here, when you say I entered the second phase and the anti-camp bar filled halfway, there's a part of the story that's missing. And the part of the story that's missing is my teammates did not attempt to save me. Now, why is that not written? It's because the bias to the killer side is so crazy that they have to directly ignore the fact that their teammates are absolute doo-doo cheeks. Why? I don't know. I mean, isn't it easy to say that in any other video game that you have teammates or you don't have anybody to play with and you're loading into a multiplayer game, you're gonna have dog shit teammates. That is how it goes. Think about any game that has multiplayer involved. Apex Legends, Fortnite are 2 examples that come to mind immediately. Rainbow Six Siege, same thing. Like, you can, like, which these are like obviously shooters and other things like that, but keep in mind, like, this still has to do with multiplayer experiences, and we're gonna have dog shit teammates regardless. Like, that is just how it goes. But for some reason, every time you see a discussion like this, it's always the killer's fault for some ungodly reason. No idea why. When the killer clearly is trying to strategically stay close by, most likely to get the second phase, because he knows they're probably not going to come for the save, or maybe they were lurking in the background. We don't know because they're not telling us. So this person says they changed it, so now the killer has a greater grace period. It starts filling much slower, only gaining speed with continuous filling. Allegedly, it is compensated by increased speed at the higher rates. So the killer just face camps without leaving the radius, so fill up faster than it did before. Which, keep in mind, Behaviour directly had, like, the people in the live stream had directly stated face camping prevention. Like, that's what they said. They said face camping, because they didn't just say camping as like by itself, but when they did, they said the anti-face camping within the clip that I saw, which was, I think, the last live stream they did. I think that was the last live stream they did, or one of the ones previously, but that was the one. So they continued by saying, if the killer proxy camps though and enters and leaves the camping radius, it'll barely move. It was done because, as we know, proxying is nearly non-existent, but the main problem is face camping. For killers to move an inch, the devs address the more pressing issue. Hope next time they do something about the annoying hatch standoffs and machine gun meta as well. That is a little bit funny, I'm not gonna lie. And this person actually is level-headed and is saying exactly what I'm saying. Proof? I want a video. As far as I'm aware, the killer cannot be within 60 meters of the hook for more than 50 seconds without giving you anti-camp. And then this is this person says, this is because of the anti-face camping. It should only really work against face camping. Behavior solved the problem, which does not really exist. And then of course they cry about it by saying having a useless bar with the killer. You see the killer close enough to you to be back to the hook immediately. Which like I've said before, it's mainly to hold the survivor's hands again, but also the idea, like I've stated before, that people utilize these strategies in order to gain an extra hook state if they are close enough to reaching one. It is not strategically beneficial to necessarily stay directly up against somebody on the hook like that unless you are playing a low tier killer with no mobility. Because a character like Ghostface, Skull Merchant, Trapper, Pig, stuff like that, like they just do not have the capability to go across the map, find a brand new person, hit them once, hit them twice, get them down. Because by the time you do all of that, you're already lost an extra gen because there is just simply not enough time. This person says, I've been camped into second death quite a bit since they implemented the new system. Not sure what benefit there was in changing it unless it was meant to benefit the killer. Which from what I saw, they never, like from what I saw in the changes that they added, it doesn't benefit the killer at all. Because they said that it gives the survivors like a bar. So it once again benefits survivors to give more quality of life that they quite literally don't use. So, which is like, it's kind of goes without saying, like they don't use the HUD despite being given a HUD that tells you everything you need to know in the match. But I guess looking up at the sky, you know, all day long and I guess, you know, smelling the breeze or some shit, you know, they're so focused on looking at a bar fill and all this other bullshit that they're not focusing on what's going on. So, you know. So I don't know. I mean, because what else would you be looking at? I don't understand that. Like, the HUD's on your left side of the screen. You can see what everybody's doing. If you're on the hook, you can even see where your teammates are. So if they're not going to save you, like, whose fault is that? So this person says, well, they can see their teammate hook anti-camp meter now. So maybe if they do have some intelligence and look at the HUD every tens of seconds, then they could kind of somehow figure it out. But that's wanting too much from solo queue. Now that I see his killer more games, when I see 3 hooked and last one is nowhere until the last gen done, fail skill check. Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of yapping and they just keep on typing like crazy. Never a period, never, you know, they don't like to write things in a way that can be read. But ultimately, at least the point still stands that they directly say it is the survivor's fault, as in your teammates are bad. I've been saying this for ages. And they go, the killer was patrolling an anti-camp bar, was moving very slowly. It's like, yeah, like you walk around. Like what the, like I don't understand what these people want, man. So it says it was filling slowly because he's patrolling. Anti-face camp, meaning unless the killer's right next to the hook for extended periods of time, it will fill slowly and teammates can slow down the anti-face cam. People need to understand this better, and a teammate slowing it down thing made clear. Big difference between standing right next to the hook and coming within proximity of it repeatedly. However, there's already a bar there that appears on the screen. So what else do you want? Like, do you want a big neon sign saying, look, the bar's filling, the bar's filling? Like, what else do you want? Like, you can't like, you can't patch out stupid. Like, that's just not gonna work. If they're actively gonna ignore what it said on the screen, then I don't know what to tell you. So of course, you know, as it says here right in the name, Survivor Main, of course, Sable, bring back the 20-meter buff and revert the 50% fill rate, apparently. And then they said they need to do one or the other. The fill rate was supposed to be compensation for the increased range, but they walked back on the range buff. The minus 50% is overkill. Yeah, they love to pull back every positive change that ever comes to killers, so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Because anytime, which is really funny because there should be pullbacks on a lot of stuff that survivors have, and it has historically never happened. So that is insane. So this person right here, exactly I agree with. Like the others have said, the feature is mostly intended to stop face camping. What we currently have is all right. Can be tweaked around number wise, but a killer shouldn't be punished for with a free self unhook just because they hooked a survivor in an advantageous spot. Example, near a highly contested generator or 3 gen. I've been saying that for ages. This person makes a good point as well. They say that like maybe offer some constructive criticism, but they never do. They don't have the brain capacity to do that. So you're asking a little bit too much for from them. And then this person says, well, I agree with you, but this isn't easy at all with the community because you can't ask them to come up with constructive criticism. This person says, I made a lot of suggestions on how to change these. So how to avoid 4-man slug, change your perks and make them less attractive. Some of these posts get creative feedback, most of the times only one of these. Which is one, well, actually in this scenario, which occurs 1 of 10,000 games, this could be abused, or no, I don't like the change to X. Can someone please think of the poor X mains, or I got no clue on this game. But to be fair, which I don't have any history to read off of what they're saying, but I mean, like, we do also have to keep in mind that like there are things that are abusable in this game, depending on the change, which you've seen it with PTBs. It's not that hard for people to find stuff. And then this person says, I don't know how clear it needs to be. Sure, it doesn't say it in game, but at that point, it's on us. Oh, well, I guess it's not on us, but whatever. It's the point is on the person for not looking up or reading the patch notes, which I agree with that too. Like they just like I've said, like if they can't look at the HUD, what makes you think they're gonna read patch notes? Like, come on now. Like these people are so hyper casual. They just like, it's like they close their eyes and just click on things and call it a day. Like they don't pay attention to anything on how the game works. I've stated this before. Like I've literally seen a clip of a streamer that just like got lost and confused that somebody died when the HUD was already showing who was getting chased and who was getting hooked, and they were like confused, lost out of their mind. I was like, there is no way that they just sat there and asked how they died. When you look at their cam, they're looking at the screen. So I'm like, where else did you look at that you didn't see that they were going to be chased and killed? I don't understand. I'm so lost and confused, bro. I don't understand. Oh wow, bro. This person says at that point, choosing to not look into the mechanics, but yes, the anti-camp meter was reduced, but the gain amount is given exponentially. It is an anti-face camp measure. I was hooked in the basement against a huntress the other day. Was able to get my anti-camp meter up and Kobe off before reaching second. I did this to waste her time, and she was above me on the platform, preventing unhooking. Regardless, my team was pumping out gens at a 3-man out regardless in solo queue. So that proves that, you know, within the low MMR, you still can get competent people that will push out the gens. But notice, the solution is my team was pumping out gens. And it's like, oh, it's a killer. It's a killer's fault. He should let us win. It's like, okay, but if your teammates aren't doing the freaking objective that you can see on the HUD, maybe point your fingers at them. Like, it's no sense. And this person says it doesn't work because you're not being face camped. Not allowing killers to patrol nearby gens would be moronic. Exactly. Exactly. It's like, come on now. This person says the multiply timer doesn't fade out. If it went to ×2, it doesn't return to previous speed and stacking, which is helpful in case of camping a 3-gen, for example. The actual numbers, nothing's really changed. It still works the same, but it progresses faster, so the killer can't prevent self-unhook in the last moment. In case of actually prolonged proxy camping, which killer tries to secure a stage in last 25, is working better than the previous 4 read as well. Presence of teammates close to hook also influence on fill rate. If not range, you can guarantee unhook of teammates in any case before 10 to 25 seconds left. Which, as we can see, like, that's another nerf to killers, as we already have imagined. Which they've been consistently doing for the last couple of months. And I think Behaviour decided to kind of overcorrect and now are starting to give survivors a taste of what the killers have been tasting for the last couple of months. So it's nice to see that there's finally some equality around here. So that's nice. And yeah, I mean, it's only gonna make the game worse. I mean, I think a lot of us, I think, have stopped playing. At least within the community. I'm not sure if that's actually true. That's probably just anecdotal stuff. So let's go ahead and read this last comment. So it says, I was never a fan of the anti-camp from the moment it was announced. It was obviously one of those things where people would never be able to agree on how strong it should be. Removing hook grabs and increasing the hook timer were sufficient to nerf camping down to a reasonable level. The anti-camp just sort of exists and pretty much never comes into play in a normal pub match. I've only seen it activate a single time in a situation when the killer wasn't deliberately trying to activate it. I just don't see the point of it when it doesn't do anything. Yeah, like the thing is that like a lot of the time, like it may activate because the killer might be just new and doesn't know like what to do yet. And that is another factor that I think a lot of people forget about when it comes down to these discussions, or like when it comes down to mechanics and things. Like they're trying to add stuff that only affects low tiers, and it affects like well, not low tiers but low MMR players, because they ultimately just don't realize that they're doing like they're playing in a way that people don't like, because they're just trying to figure out how to play. And believe it or not, like the vast majority of people are in low MMR, are in average MMR. Like that is just the reality of it. So it's going to affect those majority. And that's why you get a lot of these weird takes of like, oh, I saw this activate. And it's like, this wouldn't happen in higher MMRs and things like that. That just doesn't happen. And that's why I bring this up, and that's why I talk about it, because coming from the perspective of somebody who has been enduring the high MMR with the lowest, like probably one of the weakest killers in the game, because of that fact, I can then offer this perspective of like, I can say with confidence that that doesn't happen naturally in that level. Like if I were to load up Survivor like right now, I probably might see something like that happen, because like it's new lobbies. Like I don't play much Survivor, so of course like I'm gonna be facing new people. I'm gonna have new people on my team. Like they're not gonna really know what the heck is going on. That's how it works, you know. That's how the matchmaking lacks a lot of nuance. It's just what it does. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to kind of cover today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, your thoughts on the forum topic at hand, the video. If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member or joining on Patreon for exclusive content, perks, and other things like that. And I will see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for all the members at the end of the video. Well, I wanted to go ahead and take some time out to thank all my members from Patreon with Crow King 101, my YouTube members, Majora Jeff, Endire, Evil Peachy YT, Zero Mocker, Christian, Hexdev, and Crow Vader. And for my Twitch subscribers, Cake is the Road, Danica 2002, Final Girl _ Bunny, Acklefin, Chili Cinderace, Zero Mocker, Ginsburg, Johns 117 _ Lovely Ghost TTV, Jar TTV, Zazabu, and Crow Vader. Just wanted to thank you guys. And if you also want to have your name read off at the end of every video, make sure you join on one of these platforms to get one of those perks, as well as the other perks you get. So appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.